morning, everyone. Welcome to the Lad Talks. I am Roel Kenneth A. Felices, and I will be your host for today. This show is conducted in celebration of the International Lead Poisoning Prevention Week 2021. This week of action aims to promote the global phase out of lead paint through the establishment of an appropriate legally binding measures to stop the manufacture, import, export, distribution, sale, and use of lead paints in every country. International Lead Poisoning Prevention Week is also an opportunity to draw attention to the need for action on lead paint and other sources of lead exposure. In 2018, Davao City passed the Lead Safe Ordinance in support to the global call to phase out lead paint. This is one of the local landmark ordinances of the city, making it also the first of its kind in the country. For today's episode, we are very much grateful that we have with us the author of the said ordinance. She has championed several advocacies and has been a partner of IDIS in many of its projects and programs. Currently, she chairs the Committee on Education, Arts and Culture, Science and Technology. By profession, she is an educator with a PhD in Educational Management. She has served as our city councilor for the longest time since 1992, and unbroken record of public service for 22 years. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest, a legislator, an educator, a writer, a community worker, a peace advocate with a heart for the environment, Councilor Pilar Braga. Councilor?
Yes, thank you, Roel. Good morning. Good morning to you and to everyone. No? Oo, so maganda at mapayapang umaga, mayong buntag sa tanan. So, this is the day that the Lord has made. So let us all rejoice. And we are thankful and grateful that through IDIS, we were able to craft a very, very important ordinance. Sabi na natin yung ordinance number 0461-18 series of 2018. Imagine, Ruel, 3 years na pala ang ating ordinance, no? So today, para bang birthday ng ating ordinance, an ordinance requiring the use of lead-safe paints, no, in construction, in maintenance, and renovation of projects and other activities in the city of Davao. Whether your project is a government project or a private project, basta gumagamit kayo ng pintura, kailangan yung pintura is walang lead or lead safe, no? Yun yung pinaka-gist ng ating ordinance. So, 3 years na, we have to ask ourselves, ano na nangyari sa ordinance? Ito ba ay fully implemented na or half-heartedly implemented? Ano ba, no? So we need to go back and to review and to see how this ordinance is benefiting our people here in Davao City. And as you said, Ruel, this is the first ordinance of its kind all over the country. In fact, some other cities are also wanting to follow suit this kind of ordinance. Tulungan din natin, Ruel, yung mga ibang cities, no, all over the country para magkaroon din sila ng ganitong landmark ordinance. Yeah.
Yes, Councilor, no, this ordinance is very important in forging a lead-safe community or lead-safe environment. In a nutshell, Councilor, what are the salient features and highlights of this ordinance? So, para din malaman ng ating mga audiences today kung ano yung mga magagandang points na they should remember and should follow when it comes to following this ordinance.
All right. So, so this is our lead-safe paint ordinance of Davao City. First, the ordinance, no? Okay, this is the title of the ordinance. Sabi ko nga, since we crafted this in 2018. Well, ano yung mga prohibited acts? Siyempre, pag may ordinance, meron tayong prohibited acts. Ano yung, what is the ordinance trying to prohibit? Okay? Number 1, manufacturing, distribution, and selling of paints containing lead above the regulatory limit of 20 parts per million. Okay? Okay. 90 parts per million. And then, ang ginadili po ang pag-procure o pag-purchase of paints that lacks independent proof of compliance with the regulatory standard on lead paint. And then, ginabawal po ang pag-donate o pagdawat, no, of paints without the necessary certificate of compliance. Alam mo, Roel, sa mga eskwelahan man good, sige na nga yung donation, pintura para pintura sa atong mga eskwelahan, labi na, oo. So, kung ang teacher o ang principal walay kalibutan about lead paint, madawat lang sila, di ba? Any kind of pintura na i-donate sa ilang, wa sila kay balo, lead full of lead di atong pintura. So, ingat tayo, no? Ingat tayo sa pagdawat, ingat tayo sa paghatag, okay? And then the using uncertified lead containing paints, okay, for decoration, etc., etc. So, pag na ay prohibited act, na ay kinsay liable. If you do not follow the ordinance, kinsang mga taong liable, no? Ang distributor, ang manufacturer, and seller of paints. Kana. And the one providing or purchasing the paint. Kinsang nagpalit sa pintura o kinsa ang nagpapalit sa nagbaligya sa pintura. And then the donor and the receiver are also liable. So ikaw donor, nihatag ka, pataka lang kaghatag, liable ka. Kung ikaw ang receiver, nidawat lang ka, wa ka kahibalo, you are liable. So the one using the lead containing paints is also liable. Unya na nato, okay. Siyempre, na ay penalty. Okay. Yes. So as we say, first-time offenders 5,000, or and then for second offenders 30 days imprisonment or administrative fine of 5,000 or both, etc. So in case any violation of this act is committed by a partnership, corporation, or association, or any juridical person, the partner, the president, the director, or the manager who shall consent to or shall knowingly tolerate such violation shall be directly liable and responsible for the act. May nang importante kayo ang education process nato, Ruel, kasi siyempre pag naay ordinance dili man automatic na makahibalo dayon ang mga tao, di ba? Oo, dili man automatic na makahibalo dayon ang mga companies, mga managers, ang mga sellers. So we have to educate them. Alright. So, mo siguro ni ang mga salient points sa atong ordinance. Of course, the duty for implementation na atong City Engineer's Office is gimanduan na to implement this particular ordinance. So, naamang ganit diha, disseminate the necessary information that will inform and enjoin. So, mangutan at tagi na disseminate ba sa City Engineer's Office? Yeah. Then collect data for all paint purchases. Ginahimo ba nila? So pwede na nato i-follow up, no? Okay. And then coordinate. Okay. Collect data, prepare an annual report. 3 years na. Naghimo ba sila annual report? Diba? Oh.
That's a good question, Councilor.
Oo, kana, no? And then, of course, they have to coordinate with the relevant national agencies, the Environment Management Bureau, the DENR, etc., etc. Yeah. And ang monitoring too.
Yes, of course, that's very important yung monitoring team, Councilor. No? As you have said earlier, na years after the ordinance was passed, no, so 3 years na, there are still paint brands with high lead content that are being sold in Davao City, even as of today. And several were found in some of the big and known hardware stores in Davao City. What can we do to avoid such violations, Councilor?
Ayan, importante ang monitoring talaga, Roel, no? Kasi yan ang Waterloo ng ating mga ordinances. Practically all ordinances. Maganda ang ordinances natin, but doon tayo malagpak. We fail, no? O, di takapasa sa monitoring and sa implementation. Right. How can we implement it fully kung wala tayong monitoring arm? Namnang, daghang kayong salamat sa IBIS because wala. Pag human sa ordinances, pag human sa pag-craft sa ordinance, wala mo natulog ba? O humana. Wala na period na ta. No. In fact, this talk that we have this morning is a very good manifestation, a very good example that we are serious about the implementation of the ordinance. No, so madali man lang magpasa og ordinance, but after that what? No, wala. So, yan ang pinakamagandang role na ginagawa ng EDIS. And I'm so thankful that EDIS is there, not only for the lead paint, but even in our other ordinances, no, that is environment friendly and health friendly. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much also, Councilor, for championing environment in the City Council. Now, indeed, this campaign is, of course, in partnership with your office, and of course with the Eco Waste Coalition, our national partner, our international partner, also the IPEN, the International Pollutants Elimination Network. So we are very much thankful also for this organization for helping us, furthering our advocacy. As you have said earlier, Councilor, that you have mentioned that stakeholders played a very important part in implementing and furthering this ordinance. May I ask you, who are the primary agencies that will execute and enforce this law, and what is the role of the private sector, such as citizens, consumers, and retailers, also the manufacturers?
Yes. First of all, the manufacturers, no? So, sila man ang tighimo sa pintura, di ba? So, this requires a national action, Ruel. Kay kita niya malanta sa local, and all the big companies and manufacturers are up there in Manila, di ba? And not only in the country, but all over the world, di ba? Like Boysen, like kung anong mga brands ng ating mga pintura. So, yes, that's why we have to have an international network, no? To help us look into the global situation as far as lead paint, safe lead paint are concerned. So yes, so ito ang DENR, no, di ba? The Department of Environment, and then of course sa local level natin ang pag-implement ng City Engineers Office, sila man ang demanduan. Yeah. And the monitoring team, of course.
Of course, very important na after the ordinance, we still further the implementation part and the monitoring also. Kasi yun nga, based on our hindi naman siya wide na investigation, we only visited some of the hardware stores here in Davao City, and we found that there are several paint brands being sold pa rin in the market. So this is actually concerning. Because we already have the ordinance, but yet we still have this paint brands available in the market. So somehow there are limitations or gaps and challenges in the implementation of this ordinance. And what do you think can we do to address these gaps, Councilor?
First of all, we have to, I think, we have to take to task, the City Engineers Office, who is really the focus agency in the local government, to look into this. So, very specific masyado yung functions nila, di ba? And then, maybe one of these days, we can meet with them. One-on-one tayo with the City Engineers Office, and i-review natin ang ordinance sa kanila, sir. Meron na ba kayong report, yearly report that is required in the ordinance? So, pwede ba yung mga copy? Sir, nag-survey ba tayo kung pila na mga hardware, mga stores are still selling itong mga pinturang napuno ng lead? So, sila yung first, defense natin, as far as the city is concerned. Because, while it is also doing your own survey, no, while EDIS is also doing your survey, the task rests on the monitoring team and under the executive department. Kay kami sa city council, ang among mandate mupanday lang og balaod. Dili mitig execute sa balaod.
So yan po, very important talaga ang monitoring when it comes to the implementation of this ordinance. And we understand the limitation of the power also of the city council. Now, I know that the sole purpose of the city council is to pass the ordinance. Now, the implementation part rests on the identified stakeholders to implement this ordinance also. And yun po, you have mentioned earlier yung concern natin about this sa mga schools, purchasing paints and also yung accepting donations when it comes to paints. And there is this particular concern that cheap paints are purchased for and inside and outside the schools and hospitals, for example. The lead content of these paints has typically never been examined. Do you think there is a need to strengthen and further impose the inclusion of banning of lead paint in public procurement policy?
Yes, very much needed yan, Ruel, no? Yeah, yes, it's very, very important, labi na sa atong mga eskwelahan, because lead is, the children are more susceptible to lead poisoning. Okay? So natay backgrounder on the effects of lead, especially on children, no, young people. Okay, what I'm trying to see is murag every time we have a local school board meeting, no, because I sit in the local school board, and I always remind our superintendent and our supervisors about the lead paint ordinance na to. Okay? So far, ang ilang tubag is that ang procurement man good, usually when it is a public project, is done by the city government. So ang ilang mo, dawat na lang sila sa mga pintura. And hindi naman din sila talaga ang gumagamit. It's always a project of the contractor. Diba? So, but the important thing is to make them aware, no? Yung awareness ba, no? Aron kung maabot ang ilang mga pintura, sila mismo mo tanaw na to kung kanibang brand na pintura is acceptable or maubani ang mga ginaband. Oo. So, again, from time to time, we need to remind our people, our agencies about the ordinance. Ang suggestion ko, Ruel, is maybe one of these days we can come up with a meeting, no, online, inviting the monitoring team, inviting the people in the education sector also, the public and then for the purpose of maybe evaluation, asking them how far have they implemented the ordinance, especially the city engineer's office, the monitoring team. So in that way, I think we can make some stride, about the implementation. And also, we can also invite kung naay association of mga contractors, di ba? In the city, and just by way of reminding them about it. Yeah.
Yes, indeed, Councillor, that is a very good suggestion that we can do together, in this partnership with your office in the future, for us also to remind these people, the stakeholders, we have this ordinance and they should take responsibility in the implementation and monitoring of this ordinance. And of course, for those manufacturers, to ensure that they are abiding sa ato ang policy na na-address sa Davao City. Kasi parang it somehow defeats the purpose if we have the ordinance but there are still available lead paints containing high lead content na nasa market pa rin dito sa Davao City. So somehow it defeats the purpose of the ordinance also. So this is a good way also na we can discuss with the stakeholders this problem, these gaps and limitations of the ordinance. And I think this
Yes.
activity that we have, this online interview that we have, is a good intervention also for IEC campaign. No, despite the pandemic, we are still able to reach people to learn something, from the Let's Say ordinance that you authored, Councillor. So thank you so much for that, Councillor. Now, this is just some sort of question on your advocacy, on your fight, your support also in fighting against the lead poisoning here in Davao City. In your own opinion, what progress has been made in the fight against lead paint in the Philippines, and how can we know where it is found and what action can be taken to address it?
Action. So I think I think the best way is to go directly to all the stakeholders. You see, so what actions have you taken? Did you do a survey on the field? About how many hardwares, how many stores are complying with the ordinance? See, that is one very concrete activity that we can do. No, and thanks to Iris, I think you've been doing that. No, and I think I saw one time a report that you did on the survey that you did. So so maganda yan. And then siguro another is let's give an appreciation, what, a certificate of appreciation and recognition for all the manufacturers who are compliant with the with this ordinance that we have. So we will start recognizing local stakeholders. So hindi naman natin magawa immediately for the national or for the international. Anyway, we have the international network, but focus lang muna tayo sa local. So if magawa natin yan, no, through the survey that we have been doing, then I think that will be a great motivation, no, and promote awareness of our advocacy. Maybe we can plan that out, no? We can plan that out to give recognition to stakeholders, to manufacturers, to stores and sellers, and who are compliant with the ordinance.
That's a very good idea, Councilor. No, parang positive reinforcement or something.
Yes.
Yeah, to our stakeholders. No, while we have the penalties for those violators, we also have this recognition for those law-abiding manufacturers or hardware stores. That's a very good suggestion, Councilor. Maybe in the future we can partner, in conducting this survey and awarding this hardware stores with certain.
Para hindi na lang tayo palaging yung prohibition, the negative aspect of the compliance, but also to recognize those who are really seriously involved in trying to promote good health. No, the bottom line is health. Okay.
And now, as a final question for you, Councilor, as an advocate and our champion towards having a lead-safe environment, what is your message to the Davaoenyo consumers and to the business also?
In order to be vigilant, we have to be vigilant. No, we only have one Earth. It's upon us to conserve, to protect our environment, and all that all matters that would contribute to the toxicity, poisoning of our environment, not only of our environment, but also of our people. So together, let us work together, because the government cannot just do it alone. So we have to work together. We have to inspire each other. Importante yung inspire each other. Because sometimes we get lost into the maze of work that we're doing every day. Lalo na kami mga public officials, and dami namin concerns, no? And we cut across all sectors, you see? So that's why it's good that there is an EDIS that focuses, on this advocacy, for the environment, for our health, for our well-being. So yeah, so working together, inspiring each other, encouraging each other, reminding each other every now and then.
Thank you so much, Counselor. Indeed, it is very important that we work hand in hand in
Yeah.
eliminating the
And we are really doing this for our next generation.
yes, that's
Diba?
true.
Oo.
And
So it's not
very
only for the now, no? Sabi
mhm,
nga, the good that you want to do for the future, you have to start the good that you do today. Today. So now for tomorrow, because the future is here now. Parang
thank you.
ganun.
Yes, Counselor. Thank you so much, Counselor Pilar Braga. And yes, we need the participation of every stakeholders in forging a lead-safe Davao City. So thank you again, Counselor, for gracing our request to be a part of this online talk show that we had. And thank you so much for sharing your wonderful wisdom and knowledge in terms of the lead-safe ordinance of Davao City. And to our viewers, thank you
Yeah.
so much for tuning with us today and hope to see you in our next episode.